Hey, good evening, everybody. Talon 702 here with another shotgun informational video for you. Yeah, it's another show off guns and talk about them. But anyway, so tonight on Reddit, I had a gentleman ask me, hey, do I have to take apart my gun to find the proof stamps on, the barrel flash, the water table, exactly where are they, so on and so forth. And I've got a post on or identify this shotgun, that explains where the barrel flats are, where the water table is, where the stamps are, how to find them, all that type of stuff. But, I don't really have a, show and tell on how you actually do that, right? So, I figured now's as good a time as any, pardon me, to, show people that. So, I've got a couple of different shotguns here, just to kind of show you the different actions in terms of removing the fore-end. Again, these are all break action shotguns. I've got one over-under just simply to show you a dealie and edge latch. I've got two side-by-sides, one to show you just a spring tension fore-end, the other to show you a Anson push rod fore-end, and lastly I've got a single barrel, which is another style of spring tension fore-end, just a little bit different. So we will start with one of the most common for American guns. So here we have an LC Smith field grade, typical of American guns. There's no sort of latch system here. All it is a piece of spring steel inside that uses tension to hold the fore-end on. Okay, so here's your fore-end wood, your fore-end iron is this little piece. In this case, you've got a little finger notch up here you just put in and pull out. Many of them you just kind of pull from the sides, or it's angled up there to pull it out. And you can see this piece of steel here, there's a little spring in here that pushes up. It's got a little pointy bit that goes into this little hole right here. Some of them are just flat bars that fit into a piece that kind of hooks over. And literally it is holding it in place through the tension of that piece, okay? And you can see, it's got a lot of give to it. You have to really push on it to latch it down, but it's just spring tension. So you take that off, push your lever all the way to the right, okay? That's going to open up the gun, and the hook here just comes right off of the shoulder or the hinge pin, depending on which terminology you use. Put it back together, you just put it back in, and to put the fore-end back on, you just make sure that everything's lined up there, give it a good push. There you go, and your action's set again. So, standard American spring tension fore-end. Now, when you get to European guns, like this French Saint Etienne, which has some beautiful engraving work. It's leaves and berries up there, and just very nice, sunbursts around all the pins. It's well adorned without being garish. But with these, again, to the right opens. This one's got extractors. Closes. This one has what is called the Anson push rod, okay, which was William Anson's, really, his signature invention. That was his own. The Anson and Dealey action, which was him and John Dealey, who was the head of Wesley Richards at the time. That carries his name as well, and he really and truly probably was the principal engineer behind all that, the guy that came up with it, but Wesley Richards financed it, so Dealey was going to make sure he got his name on it. But the Anson push rod, so all you do is push this little button up here, it's spring tension, and pull it right off. And you can see right here, it's just, that button pushes this little rod, and again, spring loaded. There's a spring that goes inside here all the way around this rod, and it just moves that little latch that moves in and out there. Very, very simple idea. These are a little bit harder to fine-tune in terms of exactly where that latch falls to adjust, so tends to be better gun makers use these. because it does take a little bit more time and effort to get them properly done. But again, same situation, side by side. That comes off. Hook comes off of the hinge or the shoulder there, and then you just pop it back in. Done. And on this, I'll just show you, because there's more information on this than there was on that L.C. Smith, but right here where all your stamps are. And this is the barrel flats that we talk about. And then this piece here is called the water table. Typically, there's more information on the flats of the barrel than on the water table. In case, on this one, all you have is the inspector's mark and then the serial number of the gun. The barrel flats, however, talk about that it is a forged steel, that it's a choked bore. It gives the inspector's proof mark again, the St. Etienne proof marks, the bore diameters, all that type of stuff. So lots of information to be had. But again, and this St. Etienne's a little odd. If I try and hook it over without the rubber pushback, it gives me the problem. All right. So the next one. Now this is a more modern over-under. This is made by Monu France, so it is another French gun. And this is their Falcor, which was imported by Inter Arms here in the United States back in the 60s, 70s. This one's so gorgeous. It's not been refinished at all. I mean, beautiful wood. I don't think this got used much. I've bought this used. So it's quite a nice gun. Fixed chokes, single bead, but it is, it's a good gun. I've taken out shooting clays once or twice. But the reason I have it is to show you this latch style. This is the Dealey and Edge. So again, John Dealey's name comes up, former head of Wesley Richards back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Like to, put his name on things. Edge was the bench worker that helped come up with this latch idea, and this one you tend to see on less refined guns, more utilitarian guns. You see this on a lot of over and unders coming out of Turkey these days. And the Dealey and Edge has the latch here. As you can see, it's usually a recess, and it's just that little latch that you pull down. And all it does is release a little latch in here that hooks onto this little hook in the barrel. And when you pull it down, it just pulls it just far enough away from that it can come off. So very, very simple idea, somewhat similar to Anson's idea. And the belief is that the Dealey and Edge Fore-End was created because Dealey didn't want to pay Anson any more money than he was already having to pay him. And I can believe that, because John Dealey was a bit of a dick, if you read the history books. So the last one here, this is an Iver Johnson, but you'll see this with Iver Johnson's, early Harrington and Richardson's, early Crescent Firearms, Meriden, Connecticut. All these single shots, right? Single barrel, single shot. This is a Iver Johnson Champion Model 39, which means it is on the small frame receiver, made only for the 410 and the 28. They also made a 40 caliber shot, and then a 45 caliber shot. So essentially kind of like a cut down 45 long Colt with a shot in it, and then there's talk of there being 32 gauge and 30 gauge with these as well, or 24 gauge, some weird gauges. But anyway, if it was under a 20 gauge, if it was sub 20 gauge, it was built on this frame for a bit until they found a way to affix a sub-gauge barrel to a large size frame. And you can see that this barrel is browned. That is how they were. They were not blued at this point in time. This is pre-World War I. Very early on. This was probably, given the serial number, I'm gonna say probably around 1915 or so. Anyway, so these just use another style of a tension foregrip. You have to pull them a little bit harder there. But as you can see, right here you have your hook again. There's a little notch here. And if you look inside there, I don't know if you can see very well, but there is basically a piston that is mounted onto a rod that you can see is essentially pressed into place right there between the two screws is where that rod is, and there is a kind of piston in there that is pushed by a spring on that guide rod, and that is what pushes it against that little notch, and then when you overcome the spring tension, it lets loose. So, and again, Ivory Johnson, any of these break action guns, all you have to do is break the action. Again, hook, shoulder, hinge pin, very, very easy. There we go. The interesting thing in this is, actually, let's do this real quick. Interesting thing with the Ivory Johnson is that unless that fore-end is on, it will not force the gun back, and the ejector will not pop. So, if I do it now, the ejector pops up. That's because the fore-end iron forces the ejector mechanism back against some recesses for the pins to travel on. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That is kind of a quick, dirty history of the different types of fore-end latches. So tension, Delian edge, and some push rod, and American style tension spring. All pretty straightforward, all pretty easy to understand. And yeah, that's it. So if you were trying to find your barrel flats, your water table, get the information on them, you need to take a side-by-side apart. Then, you just take the fore-end off, push your lever all the way to the right, off you go. There are your barrel flats, there's your water table. That's where all that precious information is going to be that you need to be able to tell a lot about your gun. Typically when it was made, where it was made, if it's a European gun, especially if it's British, then was it a London gun, was it a Birmingham gun? London proof, Birmingham proofs are going to tell you that. It's just going to give you all that information you need. Estimated date range, what it's proof for, is it nitro proofed, is it black powder proofed, and all that type of stuff. So all good information. But there you go. That's it. Quick and dirty on that. I hope you enjoyed. Not an exciting episode, but definitely important information for people to know. That's it. Thank you. As always, practice good gun safety. Never point a firearm at anything that you do not wish to destroy. Always make sure that your guns are unloaded before handling, and always treat every firearm as if it is loaded. With that, safe shooting, happy hunting, and I'll see you back again sometime soon.